San Diego Forward, the regional plan will be a big-picture vision for our future, with the goals of improving our transportation system, protecting our environment, and fueling our economy. With the help of the community, SANDAG is working to create that vision, as well as detailed plans to implement it. One of the key elements will be plans for investing in our transportation system in the coming decades. Over the next 3 decades, an estimated 1 million new residents are expected in the region. This short video will give you a sense of how our plans for the future have evolved to prepare for that growth, and while also protecting our environment and our quality of life.
Our region's future is changing. Over the last 20 years, most of our cities and the county have adopted new long-range plans for our future that preserve more open space while still encouraging smart growth and more transportation choices. This more sustainable vision protects our environment while at the same time it preserves our quality of life. 20 years ago, the future looked very different. At the time, our housing was concentrated in the west. Here you can see single-family homes in yellow and multifamily homes in orange. As you can see, much of the county was undeveloped land as well as preserved open space, which is shown here in dark green. The long-range plans of the 90s called for expanding housing eastward, spreading into rural lands. And single-family housing would be built in areas far from job centers, as seen here in blue. But we didn't grow that way. Since 1995, local communities have found different ways to plan for growth. Instead of expanding the urban area toward the open space, more open space areas were preserved near existing urban areas. And housing growth occurs in or near developed areas. New long-range plans adopted by our communities now call for even more open space. And our local governments are planning for even more housing choices in existing communities. That housing will be located closer to jobs. High-frequency transit will connect more community centers, giving travelers more transportation choices. Going forward, this new vision for our future will help us protect our environment while at the same time promoting the San Diego region's economic development and quality of life. Our region's future is changing.
San Diego Forward, the regional plan, will help our plans for the future become reality. Efforts to create the regional plan, which is updated every 4 years, have been underway for many months. We have reached a key milestone in the process, the point where we look closely at different scenarios for investing in our transportation system and determine which best helps us achieve our goals. As shown in this slide, the first step is to develop a list of all needed projects, then pare down that list to what we can afford, and finally, group those projects into scenarios, evaluate them, and determine which works best for the region. The network scenarios are combinations of many different types of projects, including transit and highway improvements, largely managed lanes which accommodate transit and carpools. The scenarios also include walking and biking improvements, expected new technologies, efforts to reduce demand on the system, and other components. A key factor in the process is the amount of funding the region expects to have in the future, and when those funds will likely be available. The sources of those funds, local, state, or federal, are also important factors, because those sources often limit the use of those funds to certain types of projects. In this chart, the green bars show expected funds by decade. Revenue estimates show that approximately $206 billion to $208 billion are expected to be available through 2050. In the slides that follow, you will see details of 2 draft network scenarios SANDAG has prepared for consideration. In many ways, the scenarios are the same because many of the key transportation improvements are included in both. However, there are some important differences to the transit and managed lanes components. When it comes to transit, Scenario 1 emphasizes strengthening the existing transit corridors by adding express services, such as adding limited stop services to already existing trolley lines. Scenario 2, on the other hand, would add more rapid services, providing regional bus routes to more neighborhoods. On the region's highways, both scenarios end up the same in 2050, but the order that the projects will be built is phased differently in the two scenarios. In Scenario 1, the region would first build a more complete network of two managed lanes, basically adding carpool lanes in each direction to several freeway corridors. Once that two-lane network was complete, we would then go back and build two additional managed lanes on certain highways. In Scenario 2, we would add four managed lanes, two in each direction, to selected segments of Interstate 5 and Interstate 805 at once. In the maps that follow, we will show you the existing transportation systems, the new projects that are common to both scenarios, and then the differences between the scenarios. The first map depicts the existing regional transit services, including the San Diego trolley lines in red in the bottom third of the map, the Sprinter in red at the top, the Coaster, and regional bus services. Local bus services are also visible in very light blue in the background. This map includes all the existing routes, plus additional projects expected by 2020. All of these services are common to both scenarios. This includes some double tracking of the existing coastal rail line, an extension of the San Diego trolley from Old Town up to University City, new rapid service from Chula Vista to downtown San Diego, and privately funded airport express services. This next map takes our transit system into the future. It shows the projects common to both scenarios 1 and 2 in 2035. This system includes a new trolley line from South County up along the I-805 corridor to the Carmel Valley area. Other projects common to both scenarios include double tracking of the Sprinter line, Trolley Blue Line frequency enhancements, Trolley Orange Line frequency enhancements, and intermodal transit centers at San Diego International Airport and San Ysidro border crossing. Other improvements include the continued double tracking of the Coastal Rail Line, a bus rapid transit route that connects San Ysidro to downtown in Kearny Mesa, and another bus rapid transit route connecting Otay Mesa and San Ysidro to Sorrento Mesa. There are also several additional bus services common to both scenarios serving the communities of North Park, downtown San Diego, Spring Valley, the Peninsula communities, Old Town, Sorrento Mesa, Mission Valley, Kearny Mesa, East and West Chula Vista, and Coronado. The map on the left shows the projects common to both scenarios in 2035. The map on the right shows one additional project included in Scenario 1 in 2035, which is an earlier phasing of a rapid bus line from Otay Mesa to the existing Blue Line trolley. When this right side map is replaced with the additional projects for Scenario 2, you can see the addition of two unique bus rapid transit projects specifically in Scenario 2 by 2035, one on the existing Orange Line trolley corridor and one on the existing Blue Line corridor. These two projects effectively provide express services on these corridors by using bus rapid transit as opposed to saving up for the more expensive trolley expresses that you'll see in Scenario 1 for the 2050 time period. There are also two rapid services advanced in Scenario 2, one from SDSU to Western Chula Vista and another from Solana Beach to UTC. Moving into the 2036 to 2050 phase, this map shows all of the projects common to both scenarios by 2050. Trolley and Sprinter projects shown in red include Phase 2 of Trolley Blue Line improvements, the Sprinter Express and extension to Westfield North County, trolley from Pacific Beach to Grossmont, trolley from SDSU to downtown San Diego, and trolley from Kearny Mesa to Carmel Valley, which is an extension of the new trolley line highlighted in the 2035 phase. Coastal rail double tracking continues through 2050, including the Del Mar Tunnel. There are also several bus rapid transit projects in this phase, adding service from Mid-City to Carlsbad, Escondido to Riverside County, El Cajon to UTC, and El Cajon to Sorrento Mesa. These are shown in green on the map. And finally, there are several common rapid bus projects shown in blue, serving SDSU, Chula Vista, Escondido, Oceanside, coastal communities in Carmel Valley, Vista, Spring Valley, and North Park. Similar to what was shown for 2035, here are the 2050 projects that you just saw summarized on the left side of the slide. The projects by 2050 that are unique to Scenario 1 are on the right side map and include express trolley service from San Ysidro to downtown San Diego, express trolley service from El Cajon to the future Intermodal Transit Center at the San Diego International Airport, and a new trolley line extending the future Midcoast trolley line to Mira Mesa. The key differences for Scenario 2 by 2050, shown on the right side of this map, include a short trolley extension from UTC to the coaster in Cerrito Mesa, shown in red, a BRT service from Chula Vista to Carlsbad, shown in green, 3 rapid services, shown in blue, and a streetcar, shown in gold. Both transit scenarios provide a robust network of diverse transit modes serving the urbanized areas of San Diego County. Scenario 1 emphasizes strengthening existing transit corridors with express services with the inclusion of 3 unique trolley services. Scenario 2 emphasizes a more widespread network of rapid services with an additional short trolley extension, 6 new bus lines, and a streetcar. Moving on to the highway and managed lanes network, here's a look at the 2015 road network. The southern segment of the I-15 express lanes was completed in early 2012, and high-occupancy vehicle lanes were completed on the I-5 between the 5-805 merge and Manchester. Both of these are shown in gray. 2 managed lanes recently opened on an 8-mile segment of 805 between Palomar and State Route 94, and 2 lanes opened on Interstate 805 from Carroll Canyon to the I-5 merge, providing a continuous 10-mile managed lane in each direction. Moving on to 2020, the projects common to both scenarios include managed lanes on I-5, I-805, and I-15, a highway project on SR 76, and a toll road project on State Route 11. By 2035, you can see the additional projects on I-5, SR 78, I-15, SR 94, I-805, and SR 67. This slide shows the differences between the 2 scenarios in the year 2035. In North County, Scenario 2 on the right includes the full build-out of I-5 earlier in the plan, including 4 managed lanes from 78 to Vandegrift. With this expenditure, the middle part of SR 78 would be delayed to the last phase of the plan. Scenario 1 includes downscaled improvement of I-5 north of SR 78, but allows for the completion of SR 78 by 2035. Other options include testing differences on Interstate 805 with 2 managed lanes between 94 and the 15 in Scenario 1, and 4 managed lanes on that segment in Scenario 2. With that phased savings, we could look at the development of 2 managed lanes south of 52 in Scenario 1. On the 54 corridor, Scenario 2 includes advancing the 2 managed lanes to the 2035 phase. And finally, on I-5 South, managed lanes were advanced in Scenario 2 from 905 to Palomar to take into account the addition of BRT service in South County in Scenario 2 instead of the express trolley. In general, Scenario 1 provides a more complete network of 2 managed lanes earlier in the plan, while Scenario 2 focuses on building 4 managed lanes at one time on 5 and 805. This slide shows all the managed lanes and highway improvements by 2050. Again, there are no differences between the scenarios by 2050. Also, there are other network components to highlight which round out the transportation scenarios. Both scenarios 1 and 2 propose the full build-out of the regional bicycle plan network. The active transportation program also includes safe routes to transit, local bicycle projects, and the regional safe routes to school strategy. The emerging technologies and transportation systems management programs include projects to increase efficiencies and to deploy new technologies. The Transportation Demand Management Program includes the regional Vanpool program as well as employer services and outreach programs. Additional efforts include active traffic and demand management, which will build on integrated corridor management to reduce congestion and increase efficiencies. Shared use mobility, which provides an efficient mobility option for commute and non-commute trips and can fill gaps in the transportation system. And mobility hubs, which are places of connectivity in smart growth areas with high-frequency transit service where different modes of travel, walking, biking, ride-sharing, and transit come together to integrate the transportation network and reduce the need for drive-alone trips. The mobility hub concept depicted here shows how a number of modes of transportation, including transit, car sharing, bike sharing, and neighborhood electric vehicles, can be integrated into some of our smart growth communities, helping to make moving in and through these communities more convenient and seamless. The improvements to mobility and connectivity provide travel choices as well as reduce solo driving, congestion, and vehicle miles traveled. On all of these technology and demand management strategies, both scenarios include reasonable investments that are based on the state of the practice and respond to some differences in the scenarios. Both scenarios also contain various other network components, including transit operations improvements, highway operations improvements, maintenance and rehabilitation, goods movement, which is supported by improvements to major highway corridors, and the shared use of the rail corridors for freight and passenger services, toll lanes, local streets and roads, and grade separations. Here's the performance scorecard for the two scenarios based on the three goal areas established for the plan. The scorecard demonstrates how implementation of the scenarios would help strengthen the economy, provide people with more mobility choices, and improve access to jobs and services while preserving our environment. SANDAG will be soliciting additional feedback in August, including workshops, public meetings with our elected officials, and online engagement. Your feedback is valuable, and we welcome your contributions.